Hey guys, what up? So a few days ago I had done a review for 3 of these mods, just basically doing a vapor demonstration between the Provari, the LavaTube 2, and the Ego Twist. Well, I thought tonight I'd go ahead and go into a little bit more depth. So there's really a lot more subtle kind of differences between them, and so some not so subtle. But I'm going to go into a little bit more detail between the levels of mods and kind of what the advantages and disadvantages of each are. So I'm going to start at one end with the cheapest, smallest mod basically, and then work my way up. Now these two on the end are a little bit different than the others. These two I would consider more, this is the Ego Twist here, and then this is the Joytech Ego T2. So these are both a little bit different. Now I would consider these more of just PVs, personal vaporizers, where I think I would put these more in the APV range, advanced personal vaporizers. Basically because there's a few things these don't do. They don't have any kind of LED screens. And so that basically means you're not going to be able to read the ohms of atomizers or tanks or anything you put on here. Also, you can't do battery check and see what the battery charge is. You're also not going to be able to look exactly, you know, what you're vaping on digitally. You can kind of, have a pretty good idea with the Twist. Now the Ego Twist, I would say, is more of a true variable voltage, although it has a limited range. This would be for somebody who likes low resistance vaping because it has a good range between 3.2 or 3.3 and 4.8. Yeah, 3.2 and 4.8. So in that range, if you like low to medium resistance vaping, it's going to work really well for you. Now this one actually has a wider range, but it only has 2 settings. It can either be low or high. So this one, you can either basically do low resistance vaping or you can do high resistance vaping, but you can't really do any, medium resistance because this is either going to be set at 3.3 or it's up at 6 volts. So if you really want to do high resistance vaping, you don't have a lot of money, then this might be your option because this only goes up to 4.8. Now this is probably your best overall value because this is only $50. You can get the kit with 2 of these and the charger and a couple of tanks. So you basically can get everything you need. This one's probably about the next cheapest. It would run you about $65 for everything. One of the reasons I would maybe put this above this as far as its level of a personal vaporizer is simply because this runs off an 18650 battery, and this, there is no real battery. The unit itself is the battery. So you're not going to, replace this a battery in this. You're just going to basically charge this. If it died, you would toss it out and you would just simply get another Ego Twist. Now the Ego T2 has what all of these other mods have, which is it runs off an 18650 battery. So what that means is if you wanted to upgrade, if this was going to be your first mod, but you knew that once you had enough money, you were going to want to upgrade to like the LavaTube 2 or a Provari, then I would say this would be a pretty good one to invest in because this is going to allow you to upgrade because you're going to already have the battery charger and the batteries that these are going to require. So then you only have to buy the tubes, which this is only going to be $79, and I think this is like $129 or something, if all you need is the piece itself. Once you need to get the starter kits and everything with it, that's when it starts getting a little more pricey. So at least this is something you would invest in, that you could transfer the equipment up as you upgraded. This one isn't upgradable. This is it, So when you get this, it's a little bit more of a dead end, but like I said, it's cheap enough that I think that's a fair option if you're going to do it and then you want to, move up. Now, if you already know you like to vape, more high resistance, high volt vaping, then this one at least will allow you to go up to 6. So these two are the ones, like I said, that don't have any LED screens and they're not going to read the ohms or anything for you on anything you're vaping off. Now these 3 are a little bit more of the advanced personal vaporizers. This is actually the original LavaTube. I just kind of wanted to show you. It's the one being replaced by this. So I can kind of put that out of the way for now. So then on these 2, they both have the screens. They'll both read atomizers, cartomizers, whatever that you put on here. It'll read the ohms for you and tell you. And I don't really understand exactly how people do it that don't have one of these. Because see, I get a lot of atomizers laying around. I have a lot of pieces. The ViviNova itself comes with 3 different ohm coils. So 3 different resistance coils on the ViviNovas. And so I just don't know how people keep track of what they're vaping on if you don't actually have something that reads it for you. So I would definitely say if you had enough money, I mean, I need to have one of these around. Otherwise, I would just lose track of what I'm vaping on, and then you kind of lose the whole point of the variable voltage if you don't know what resistance you're vaping on. So anyways, these will do all of that for you. Now, one of the big differences here you can see is size. I mean, this thing is a lot bigger than this nice little Provari, you know. This thing's just tiny. They both do the same thing. You know, they can take the same batteries, but most of the space of this is the battery, you know. And then even in circumference, this thing's got to be like twice as big around it, you know. I like the feel, and it's comfortable, so don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking it, but I'm just saying this is much smaller and more subtle. If you want to stick something in your purse, you know, this is probably going to fit in there a lot easier than this big thing. So anyways, that's something to keep in mind. Now, another thing to keep in mind is that the Provari is self-calibrating, and it's going to be probably much more precise. I used a 1.6 ohm atomizer, which I already knew was 1.6 ohms because that's what I bought it as. And I put it on both of these and read it. And it actually read as 1.7 on the LavaTube 2, and it read as 1.6 on the Provari. So it's not a big difference. I'm not saying it's going to make any difference, really. You know, at that point, you really just need to know if it's a low resistance, medium resistance, or high resistance. I mean, I don't think it's going to, you know, get so detailed that if it tells you it's a 1.7, that's going to change what you're going to vape at. But the point being that the accuracy of the Provari, you know, is unmatched. It's more accurate than the LavaTube 2. So that's just little things like that. And I have a feeling, just, you know, the feel of the unit itself, if I had to bet on which one I'm still going to be vaping off 10 years from now, which is I think what the warranty on the Provari is, 10 years, I would have to give it to this one. So it's one of those things where I think you get what you pay for. And I really do think each one of these is better as you go up. But it becomes marginally better the further you go. So I really do think a nice medium grade mod would probably be this LavaTube 2 because it's going to do everything you need. It might not be just, you know, as highly accurate, but that's, you know, not really that necessary. It vapes great. I'll go ahead and put something on here. And like I said, it pretty much does everything that the Provari does. The Provari maybe just does it a little bit better. And if you don't have a lot of cash to spend, then you might want to get one of the Egos. Now, I would only say my advice on deciding which one of these to get is how much you're determined to upgrade. And if you really think this is just going to be your first mod and you're going to be upgrading to a LavaTube 2, then you might as well get this Ego T2 because that's going to give you the 18650 battery and the battery charger and everything you're going to need for this. If this is going to be what you're going to vape on and that's it, you think you're just going to get one of these and for the next year this is what you're going to be vaping, then you might want to just go with one of those Ego C twists because like I said, that's basically going to just allow you to vape off of this, but it's not going to be upgradable. Alright guys, I know that was a pretty long review. I'm going to come back and actually compare the two lower grade mods, the Ego T2 and the Ego C Twist, and then I'm also going to do LavaTube 2 versus the Provari on a side-by-side. So if you want to get a little bit more of a detailed comparison of each, you can catch those reviews. And if you want to see when those come up, you can go ahead and subscribe to the channel, and that way you'll know. My dog's coming up on me. Alright guys, I'm going to go ahead and take a hit off of this. My favorite Vivinova 2.2 medium resistance coil, and I got it set at about 4.5 volts. I'm going to nail that, and then I'll catch you guys on the next video. Oh, and by the way, I'll put links to all of these mods underneath this video, so you're going to have to look down in the sub-basement in the Show More section down there. And some of these units, like these Egos and the Ego Twists, you can get a lot of different places. So I will try to be aware of who has the best deals. And if I see a better deal, I'll change out the link below. So I'll try to keep that link current with where I feel like is the best deal you can get for these Egos. And from, you know, a good reputable merchant too. So if you guys use that link, it should always be current. Alright, catch you on the next video, you guys. Oh, yeah. Ooh, you could do worse, that's for sure.